How you doing tonight? Dom Tiberi here, joined by the one and only Adam King, and we are officially in the world of the transfer portal. Till January 2nd, the window remains open. A number of Buckeyes have already placed their names in the portal. The biggest quarterback, Kyle McCord, the same Kyle McCord that was the starter this year. The same Kyle McCord that is coming off a third straight loss to Michigan. Not him personally, but as the starting quarterback. And Ryan Day said it best. When you lose that game, there are consequences. And Kyle McCord had a chance to win the game. And to me, that's the thing that jumps out at him, is the paper thinness of the difference between winning and losing. Kyle McCord was the hero of Notre Dame. I remember watching the Michigan-Ohio State game thinking, it's going to be another one of those moments. I think Buckeye Nation felt that that was going to happen. And, you know, that interception that he threw, the second of the game, that ended the hopes. And so, you know, here we are now. He's not the hero. He's, you know, heard it from the fans. And I will say this, when you're the starting quarterback at Ohio State and you're the head coach at Ohio State, you're going to get all the praise, and unfortunately you're going to get all the blame. And both Ryan Day and Kyle McCord have had a lot of the blame. I personally like Kyle McCord. I think he's a great kid. His numbers, I think, were impressive this year. Over 3,000 yards, 24 touchdowns, just 6 interceptions. That's pretty impressive. But in this world, like Ryan Day said, there are consequences. Kyle put a statement out, was very, very thankful for his time at Ohio State. He thanked the fans, saying that your passion is what makes it so special here. He thanked his coaches, Ryan Day and Corey Dennis. And he also said, you know, he's doing this to explore other options. And, you know, Ryan Day, we were at his news conference when they said the Buckeyes were going to go to the Cotton Bowl and play Missouri. And Coach Day was asked and asked and asked, and we talked about it afterwards, that Ryan was pretty non-committal. I think looking back now, he probably had an idea what was coming.
Well, I think it's really interesting. You can hear Ryan Day in that press conference say nice things about Kyle and things about his year and how he grew. And then he emphasizes he's a good quarterback. He really is a good quarterback. And it almost sounded like somebody saying things haven't worked out, but this kid is a really good quarterback. He said, you know, you have to look at what's next for the team. I think there are two windows that you can look at here. I think you can agree that Kyle McCord is a good quarterback and that he is not the right fit for Ohio State. I think you can look at those two things in separate windows and say Ohio State now has a standard that if you're not in New York at the end of the season and you play quarterback, something has probably gone wrong. Is it too high of a standard? That's for a debate. But right now, that's what it is. And I think Kyle McCord he's great at what he does, and he will go be great in the ACC. He'll go be great in an SEC team somewhere, maybe the Pac-12, or I guess that doesn't exist anymore, so we'll see. But he just didn't fit this system in this season, and that's okay. And I think what the Buckeyes now do is you say, thank you for your time, Kyle. I will say the fans' reactions, we talked about some of the reactions after the Michigan game, were absolutely not okay. I mean, they were a little harsh for a college kid. Today, the Buckeye Nation rallied around him. I think people understand that he came out here. He lost one game, Dom.
Right.
He lost one game in his Buckeye career.
But it was the game.
It was 6 points to the number one team in the country.
But it's the game at Ohio State that you have to win.
100%.
I feel bad for Kyle McCord. As I said, I personally like the kid. I think he's a great kid. I think he can go somewhere else and hopefully succeed. Here's what I'll say. I did not like the name calling after the game, but as I said, the quarterback and the head coach get all the blame. Buckeye fans are passionate. They hate losing to that team up north. But I will say this, no one wanted to win more than Kyle McCord, because if he would have won that game, if he would have engineered the comeback like he did at Notre Dame, we're not even having this conversation.
No.
We're talking about, hey, is he going to New York? Should he be on the Heisman, watch and all this stuff? And it didn't happen. And that is the nature of big boy college football. And what we are witnessing when it comes to college football, in my opinion, is the professionalism of it. And this is, where we're at. You've got the transfer portal. 12 players right now, as we have the taping of this, are in the portal right now.
Yeah.
I can't remember a year. I think that's,
Well, I will say this. I think there is a bad connotation on the transfer portal. I don't know where it came from. It's this idea that if players leave, that's terrible and that's them quitting and not wanting to compete. That's not true at all. I mean, if Kyle McCord stays here, he would be going into what is his final season in college football, battling for a starting job that he may not win and then would have had to sit on the bench for the final year of college football. The transfer portal is made for people like Kyle McCord.
Yeah, but I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying that's the nature of the game. It used to be you had to stay. The deal is that you look at Joe Burrow. He won the Heisman and won a national title because he left Ohio State.
100%.
And these kids have to do what
Joe Burrow would have stayed on the bench.
Yeah, they have to do what they think is best for them. But my point is, you got the portal now. You got the NIL money that they're making. You've got the professionalism of college sports. And I don't particularly like where this is heading because I like the amateurism of college sports and that these kids are. But when you're making the kind of money they're making in this stuff, I think you leave yourself open to some of the visceral stuff we've seen. And to me, the genie's out of the bottle. It's never going back in. If this was next year, Ohio State would be hosting in the 12-team playoff, but it's a year early, and I think the whole thing is whacked out. I mean, that if you look at the final standings of the college football playoff rankings with Michigan, Washington, Texas, and Alabama, and then you and I debated, you've got an undefeated Florida State.
Which is why the 12-team playoff has to exist.
Undefeated. So, the committee's mandate is to put the 4 best teams out there.
If we're going down this road, you're going to get me fired up. Because
I think Ohio State is as good as anyone. But
I don't. Yeah, okay.
I think they're as good as anyone.
I would agree.
This is the team that battled toe to toe. I wanted to see him. I didn't want to see him play Missouri. I wanted to see a rematch with Georgia.
If you're a Mizzou fan, I apologize for that.
Well, I mean, nothing against that. I wanted to see a rematch with Georgia.
I understand. I thought you were going to say the Buckeyes deserve to be in the playoffs. I jumped ahead.
I think they do. I think they're as good as anyone.
I think they're as good as anyone.
I think they're in the top 12, definitely.
100%. I don't think
they're 7, as a matter of fact.
I think that the 12-team playoff, thank goodness it's here, because it's going to solve a lot of debate. In the 12-team playoff,
so if we're in a 12-team playoff, does Kyle McCord go into the portal?
No.
He's going to play.
But I don't know that means Kyle McCord doesn't go in the portal after the season.
Well, he might have, yeah. But what if he goes and he leads them to a national championship?
That's true. But the only reason, we saw Kelly Bryant go lead Clemson to the playoffs, and after that he transferred out. Went to, you know where he went? Mizzou. That's a full circle moment right there. I think when you look at Kyle McCord, I think when you look at the 12-team playoff, it is helpful in college football because we no longer have to debate. Someone like Kyle McCord has the chance to go out and get redemption after that loss against Michigan. But in the grand scheme of things for Buckeye fans, and I know this isn't how you want to look at it, but it quite frankly is true, the 2024 season started today.
Oh, yeah.
I understand that there's a lot on the line for the Missouri Tigers when it comes to the Cotton Bowl, and the Buckeyes want to win that game.
They have to win that game. Ryan Day has to win this game.
I'll say this, and the amount of pressure on Ryan Day in this Cotton Bowl, in my head, is non-existent.
Well, then you're from Columbus. You know better than that.
I think that everything for Ryan Day's future doesn't come down to a game in Dallas against Missouri. It comes down to next season in the shoe. That's it.
Well, yeah, but if you want to silence some of the critics,
you're not going to. But they're going to say it's Missouri.
Yeah.
And so my thought with Ohio State is the only thing that Kyle McCord leaving does for you that's very, very helpful is it lets you get a jump start on next year already.
Who's going to be the starter in this game? I'm thinking it's going to be Devin Brown if it was a 2-man. That's what I think.
Welcome to the train. We have shirts. We have jackets.
What's that?
I said it was going to be should have been Devin Brown in the fall.
Well,
it didn't work out, but we end the season, I think.
You think it's Devin, or do you think it's
I think it is
or Lincoln?
I think it's about a 70-30 split in that game. I don't think you play one guy. I think You let this become. I know you don't.
Here's the only reason.
You let it become the spring game.
Here's the only
I know
thing.
you don't like
now,
that.
They're going to get him reps.
Yeah.
Whoever it is, they're going to get reps. They're going to compete. I just think that Devin Brown is the most. Ryan went with Kyle McCord because he was the most experienced and gave them the best chance he thought to win.
Mm-hmm.
They got to win this game. Who gives them the best chance? A guy who has actually been in the games, a guy that actually was, and got most of the reps. He and McCord got most of the reps.
Now, the thing with Devin Brown was, the reason Devin Brown didn't win the starting job was one word that Ryan had plastered on the Woody. He said at every press conference 800 times, consistency. All he wanted was a game manager and consistent. And I will give Kyle McCord credit. He was consistent this year, and for the majority of the year, a game manager until the final pass of the final game. And
well, we can debate that for the cows come home. He did get hit.
He did get hit.
Now we can say, hey, he's a split second. He should have delivered it earlier. We can debate that all you want, but he still got hit. He had no time to make a decision.
I think if you had Ryan Day on a lie detector test right now, and you said who had a bigger upside in that quarterback battle, it would have been Devin Brown.
Maybe.
I just think the lows, there's just too much. I mean, we got a chance to watch quite a few practices, and there were some phenomenal throws, and then some throws that you look at and go, oh, no, you can't make that throw. And so I think going into the Cotton Bowl, you just hope that there's the consistency there with Devin Brown. If you really, and Ryan Day wants to win this game. Of course he does. But I think if you weren't excited for the Cotton Bowl, this makes it 10 times more exciting. You get to see a sneak peek of the 2024 Buckeyes, and you get to see if Devin Brown should have been the guy or Lincoln Keenholz all year long.
The only thing that I don't like is it's another year of losing to that team up there.
Well, the good news is every day we're a day closer to the game.
Yeah, I know. It's just.
Dom's got a countdown clock on his desk.
I don't particularly, especially with everything that happened up there. What are you going to do?
I will say, I think things are going to get very interesting once the playoffs are done up in Ann Arbor.
Well, we'll see. We shall see. Keep it on 10 TV. Keep it on 10tv.com. I'm trying to stay calm. I'm going to be calm. He is Adam King. I'm Dom Tiberi. We'll talk to you later.